today we have the pleasure of visiting with both the director and a program officer with the Fulbright España program. We'll be visiting with Director López immediately to my right, and across from me, Mr. Vanover. So thanks so much for visiting with me today to tell me a little bit about the Fulbright program, to share with our students across the world the types of cooperation and collaborative efforts you're doing. So in this respect, what is Fulbright? Who is Fulbright? I think a lot of us know the name, but have never thought thoroughly who and what it is.
Well, Fulbright was a U.S. senator coming back from 1946, just after the Second World War. He was trying to find a way to reduce conflicts. So his idea was to fund the program to try to put people into contact, to try to get people to get each other, to try to get US people and people from other countries to get each other, to avoid conflicts. That was the initial idea, and it is the initial goal of Fulbright program, and still it is the main objective of Fulbright, to get people connected, to get people understand each other.
So I mean, I think the most basic level I think you were saying is like, we have to talk to each other.
Yeah, that's right, and that is the initial goal, and it's still the same objective of Fulbright. Now, the way that it is made is by ways of academic programs and grants that we try to give to outstanding people. So in our case, Spaniards going to the US and Americans coming to Spain. So they can study here or research here, but that is just a tool, because the main goal is that they come to Spain or the Spaniards go to the US and interact and collaborate and understand the culture.
So this whole exchange, this complete intercambio of sorts.
That's right, yeah.
So Mr. Vanover, I understand, there are many different programs inside of Fulbright. In respect to the work you're doing, what does Fulbright mean to you? How do you operate, and what kind of goals and aspirations are you pushing forward that the senator envisioned or maybe hadn't even thought about?
Well, yeah, no, as Alberto just said, that whole basic objective to promote mutual understanding is always there, and always has been there from the beginning of the program, right? The program started in 1958, right?
Okay.
And it's been since then, so we're almost at 60 years of exchanges, right, between Spain and the US, and it's Americans coming and Spaniards going. And so what I do within the commission, we're one of the largest commissions actually in the world, the Fulbright Commission in Spain. We have currently 10 different grant categories for Spaniards who go to the US, and my job is to kind of manage those programs, right? And each program has its own specific requirements and its own target audience, right? I mean, everything is at a graduate level, so we have people who are Spaniards who are interested in going to the US to do master's programs, to do PhD programs, we got postdoc, we have programs for artists, we have programs.
So it's not just like purely maybe a historian that might be applying to Fulbright.
Yeah, no, in fact we've seen how that's evolved over the years. Spaniards, the fields of interest they're into, I mean initially, of course it's science, and on top of science and technology, that's the biggest pull that the US has, right, for Spaniards who want to go there and research in those STEM fields. That's still there. But there are many other areas. I mean, there are areas of things like international relations, journalism, right? Those have always been high demand categories for us. We've had programs specifically targeting those. We have programs that specifically target humanities, which could be the historical things. We have language things now, a big boom in bilingual education in the US. We have a program for FLTAs, the foreign language teaching assistants, that go and spend a year at US universities and small liberal arts colleges throughout the US. So language is there, but social sciences, economics, and of course the arts, performing artists.
So that's pretty interesting for the fact that, a lot of times I think even in the public policy realm, our goal, obviously, with governance, and I started my career actually in the Texas legislature as a legislative assistant, is always how do you create, kind of guidelines and directives to kind of help spur kind of the type of activity you want. And what's so interesting about Fulbright is that, out of this kind of kernel of an idea, able to generate a robust enough framework, but also flexible enough to really advance all kinds of different ideas and to transform with the times.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, it sounds like, Alberto, have you seen many, or have there been any kind of striking changes for you in your career with Fulbright?
Oh yeah, well, it's very interesting what you say because, and as Guy was saying, traditionally in the very old times, the Spaniards wanted to go to the U.S. to study sciences and STEM fields, basically, and the Americans wanted to come to Spain to study literature, humanities, and that has changed completely. Now, at the present moment, we have level the fields of study, so we get everybody to every fields of study, and it's also interesting to see the role and the weight of men and women during times, because in the old times it was all men, men going to the US and men coming to Spain, and now we have more women at the program. Initially it's very level, we have, it's like 52-48, something like that, but we have more women than men in our programs. Yeah.
Well, and it's kind of, I think it's very interesting. In some ways, it's probably in some ways tracking from where we come from. So from the 1946 post-World War II, women had made a tremendous change inside of America in terms of their participation in the workforce. But there was this lag, I think, in terms of education, but then it continued, though, and now it's even grown. And then I think even like probably in the perspective of modern Spain, its own transformation after the Civil War, after the transition after Franco, and maybe some more liberalization, so those values are kind of crossing over. Very
and as you say, the program has been transforming itself as the two countries were transforming themselves, so it's been growing with them. And so that's probably one of the reasons that we're still here.
Yeah. Well, since kind of speaking of just like why we are here, part of, I think, always of this course is getting to know people across the world. It's the best part of my experience is to visit with other scholars, with other intellectuals, with other program directors who are in the same ways work in the same field that I am, which is cultural collaboration and education. So I'm curious about how y'all both, how your own lives developed, your professional lives, and how you ended up at Fulbright. I might pick on my colleague across from me first, Mr. Hanover, because we
Vanover, Vanover, Guy. Yeah, well, my name is Guy Vanover. I'm American, obviously. I'm originally from a small town in Virginia, right outside of D.C., Manassas, very historical little town, Manassas, Virginia. And I came to Spain first time many years ago when I was 19 years old. It was still a very different Spain that we lived here. So basically I lived all of my adult life here in Spain, back and forth, studying in the US, but once I finished graduate school and stuff, I've been here permanently.
Was it always here in Madrid or in other places?
No, I've lived in Madrid always, right? But that doesn't mean I haven't been everywhere across the country, which is, the good thing about Spain, it's very accessible, right, for us to get around and to visit. Because Spain, I don't know, people have a different image, I think, in the U.S., but Spain has a lot of things to offer to the U.S. And, among those kind of things, and that's the importance of Fulbright, because we're saying, like Alberto was just saying, the Americans who are coming here no longer are coming. Of course, Spain's got great architecture, art, history. Those were traditional kind of fields. But now what people don't realize, Spain is a real, on the top levels of like public transportation. We've got a fantastic public transportation, a high-speed train system. Americans have come, they've studied that, they've looked at that. The U.S. is really lacking in having a productive, it's based on single car, single kind of transportation. And here, we have a completely different kind of society, and Spain has been on the cutting edge of that. Spain is on the cutting edge of all these alternative energy sources, wind energy, solar energy, obviously, right? Those kind of things. And, Americans are interested in checking out those kind of things that are going on. And in the health field, you only have to look at the World Health Organization life expectancy rate, and you'll be surprised that Spain is number 2 in the world, right? Only behind Japan, which is number 1, and it's only because it seems like Japanese women live 1 year longer than Spanish women. But they are number 2, so there are a lot of things. The health field is very advanced here in Spain, right? And Americans want to come. They do research here. They come here to do cancer research. Spain is a big leader in things like with organ transplants, things like this, that kind of medical things.
So Spain just doesn't produce olive oil and tourism. It produces a lot of other things. And a leader. And I think it also, what I found about being based at the University of of Madrid, is that there's a great commitment to technology and to like new frontiers in terms of economic frontiers and the internet. So it's amazing to see how quickly Spain is adapting and actually leading in this area in that respect. So I find it really exciting. So I'm going to pick on you a little bit more.
Okay,
So tell me though, you're from Manassas, but then you're also, so you did some graduate work in the United States as well.
Yeah, no, I got all my education, university education.
So what did you study at the graduate level?
Economics. Right. Yeah, I have a master's in economics and concentrating in economic development. Right.
And then how did you find your way coming back to Spain and particularly joining Fulbright?
Well, I had a life before Fulbright, right? So obviously, but I was here in Spain before then, right? So as I said, I was very young when I was 19, so that's back in the 70s, right? And it was a completely different Spain. It was still during the time of Franco's regime, and Spain has evolved tremendously from what has happened there up until now through the transition to become a modern democratic country. But I think everybody, it's because of exchange, it's like I came here to study with my university in the States. I came on a program that was just a month program, did that, I liked it. I moved and shaped and tried to figure out how to come back. So I came back the following year. I did a year at the university here in Madrid, right? University Complutense of Madrid. I studied there for a year, went back to the States. By that time you get pretty hooked. So, I would do like most American kids do. You work, you study, you save your money up the rest of the year. But in the summers, I'd always try to get back over here. I had
get home to Spain.
Well, yeah, no, but you establish contacts, you have friends, you've studied with people, so you feel a part. You've left something behind, and so you come back. And so when I finished my formal education, finished graduate school and things like this, I said, well, I'm going to try to make it work. And so I moved to Spain, and I taught here in American universities that have programs here. I've taught for those. I've taught economics, what I studied, to Americans for like 22 years. And then I joined Fulbright. Well, I married a Spaniard after 5 or 6 years. You grow roots inevitably where you go.
Eventually you
right. And so my wife is Spanish. I have 2 children born and raised here, but we also are very conscious about making them American. So we speak Virginian at home. We don't speak English. Right, exactly. We don't speak English. We speak Virginian, and my kids, even though they've never lived there, they've been there like in the summers, and they don't feel foreign, let's say, in the U.S. But obviously, it comes out once you talk to them because there are certain things they won't understand, those kind of expressions like, you just hit a home run. They don't know what you mean. Colloquialisms. But in any case, so yeah, it just gets more permanent. And so I started Fulbright. I've been here almost 30 years, right, since I worked in the Fulbright Commission, right, here. And it's, and working basically with Spaniards, right, Spaniards who are going to the U.S., helping them prepare for that. We do placement, university placement. We help them identify what are the institutions that best fit their academic objectives, where's the best place they can study, what they can study, that kind of thing. And it's very rewarding because, when you see this further stretch, and I'm talking about, decades, in my case, right now at this point, you see people that have gone on to become leaders, right, in the country. Right? And you knew them back when they were just, wide-eyed young kids that with lots of dreams in their pockets, and they went to the U.S. and they brought that back and they came and they've been successful. So that's very rewarding, right, to see that kind of thing, right? So, and you can see, so I mean, yes, the Spaniards have gotten a lot from the U.S., but I also want to make the point that Spaniards have taken a lot. They've contributed a lot when they've gone as well.
So, Alberto, tell us about yourself. How did you find yourself at Fulbright, and also kind of some of your own autobiography?
Well, the reason I think it's simple, I am a Fulbrighter myself.
Oh, okay.
Because you never finish being a Fulbrighter. You have your grant, but afterwards, as we were commenting before, you still have to give back. So you are a Fulbrighter for the rest of your life.
So where did you spend your Fulbright?
So I went to Boston. I went went to Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy.
Oh, yes,
It was
it's Tufts.
Very Tufts University, very nice experience. That was back in 95, 96. And I am an industrial engineer, so I was doing very technical stuff, but I found myself that I wanted to slightly change my career and move more towards more managerial, international relations things. So I applied to Fulbright, and I was lucky enough, and I got the grant. And it's something that the Fulbrighters say often, that is the Fulbright change your life. And in my case, it changed my life. Because after my grant in the US, I came back to Madrid. And it's not only that you acquire and you get different skills, different systems of learning, because it's very different how you are taught here in Madrid and to compare with how you are taught in the US. But also the culture you get, you kind of open your comfort zone, you learn quite a lot of things, you learn a lot, you get a lot of friends, and that is very useful for you when you come back. So I enter into a different kind of jobs, trade promotion, marketing, international relations.
So it's a very different direction for engineers.
Yes. And then suddenly I read in the paper that the Fulbright position as executive director was there, and I of course applied, and I was lucky enough that I got it.
Yeah.
And that was 4 years ago.
Wow! Oh my gosh!
And I'm very happy of being here, because it's very rewarding to help people to get the experience you had before and that you know is so valuable.
So I have one last kind of set of questions, and it's really about where Fulbright goes from here. What might be some of your kind of hopes and expectations for Fulbright in the coming years, or as it moves forward, or where do you see it going?
Well, Fulbright is a robust program. So it's been here for 70 years now. It's going to be 60 years in Spain. I don't see major changes in the short term. As we were commenting before, Fulbright transformed itself with the countries it is working in, and I don't see Spain or the US changing dramatically in the short term. So I think Fulbright is going to be there. I see slight changes in maybe in programs, but the spirit of Fulbright is going to remain more or less the same. In Spain, the Fulbright program is very robust, it's very strong. As you know, we've had a very strong crisis these last years, but it hasn't been so strong in our micro world of Fulbright. We have been seeking financing for private companies to complement the financing we were being cut from the administration. So we have even more grants than before. So I think that the program is going to remain the same. We will see different profiles of people maybe with times, but the speed of Fulbright, I mean, talking about knowing each other, talking about knowing the other culture, that's going to remain the same for sure.
And in this respect, as you think about the future, if you were to make that kind of plea to Americans out there that are maybe considering applying to Fulbright, maybe they never thought about it before, who is Fulbright looking for? Who is Fulbright España looking for?
Fulbright is looking for, first of all, talented people, but most important, people who are curious, that want to know what is beyond their borders, that want to know what is beyond America, what is Spain like, what is Europe like, that want to apply their knowledge to get to know other culture and bring it back to America afterwards to be used for other Americans and for themselves. So I would say, talented people, because it's an academically very highly considered program, but when you are talented, it's not only that what we are seeking. We are looking for empathy, we are looking for people who are curious, that want to eat the world.